One of the wildest games we've ever seen, a week after one of the wildest games we've ever seen. However, it's changed a little bit because they're winning them now. Let's go inside the locker room, talk about the Texans' wild, and I mean wild, win over the Cincinnati Bengals 30-27.
Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do.
Welcome to the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 Central on Sports Radio 610 and the Odyssey app. Exclusive interviews with players, etc. We're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, and we're here every day. Texans find a way to win. Second straight week. It's the wildest game you've ever seen. Texans win 30-27, but I think a lot of people might have had heart attacks along the way. What an absolute freak show circus of a game. Now, the only thing that we can say absolutely about this Texans team with the last 2 weeks and where they sit right now at 5-4 heading into a game against the Arizona Cardinals is that when CJ Stroud has the ball in his hands and you have a chance to win the game, you feel pretty good about it. That's the one thing we can say about this football team. There's a lot of questions that we can get into, but the one thing that we know is that CJ Stroud, when he has the rock in his hands and there's time on the clock, he can get the job done. He can definitely get the job done. And that's whether he has his offensive linemen. That's whether he doesn't have Tank Dell. That's whether he doesn't have Noah Brown. That's whether he doesn't have Dameon Pierce. That's whether he doesn't have Nico Collins as he did today. And I understand the Bengals had a limited Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. They did not have T. Higgins. Kind of an equalizer. But the one thing that has remained consistent the last 2 weeks is that when CJ Stroud has the ball and you have a chance to win, you better either stay in your seats or you better not lose hope. I see a lot of you talking about a lot of things. We're not going to ignore in victory what we would not ignore in defeat. Bobby Slowick, good God. Do you want to talk about a roller coaster performance? How do you even assess Bobby Slowick? I don't even know where to start. The end of that game was one of the biggest brain farts that you will ever witness from a coach, Bobby Slowick. That was a near disaster. Fortunately for the Texans, there was the drop touchdown by Boyd, and they were able to pull it off. But Bobby Slowick, man, we'll get to the refs as well. There's a hell of a lot of stuff to get into. Arturo saying keep the air attack. Did you not like what Singletary did today? I thought Singletary was pretty damn good. 30 carries, 150 yards. You want to keep the air attack? After what you just watched? They should have ran the ball late in the game. With the way that was going. Lou G, I'm going to put you in timeout. I don't know what you were watching. You said Slowick was too conservative 2 of the last 3 drives. He threw on third down when he shouldn't have. And the one before that, he took a long shot on third. So I'm going to put you in timeout, sir. Nose in the corner, brother. Know what the hell you're talking about with that. This is a young squad. I think character's being built. Some of the guys that you saw Nick Caserio bring in, I want to give him some flowers. Let's give Nick Caserio some credit here too, and DeMeco Ryans, whoever assessed this thing. I want to give credit to Sheldon Rankins, who the Texans invested the most money in this offseason. 3 sacks. He has more sacks than Will Anderson just in this game. I want to give credit to Noah Brown. Cowboys didn't want his ass. Noah Brown's out there doing his thing. I want to give credit to Dalton Schultz. Man, when CJ needs to make a big play, he goes to Dalton Schultz. Am I missing somebody? Shaq Griffin. Big interception there. Shaq Griffin. Salute. A lot of the guys that the Texans brought in this offseason, they're a big reason why. Devin Singletary. Just mentioned Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary did his thing. So the free agents that the Texans brought in, it's one thing. It's good to credit the young guys, and the young guys are what we're excited about. But damn, these guys that they brought in on short-term contracts making plays. They were making plays. 100%. Derek Stingley returned to the lineup. A little bit rusty that first touchdown. I don't know. I'm sure all the football nerds will talk about how it was covered too, etc. Maybe Jalen Petrie should have been there early. I want to say this about Jalen Petrie, and I don't want to be negative, but had the Texans found a way to lose this game, there would have been two main talking points for me. Number one would have been Bobby Slowick. Number two would have been Jalen Petrie. We spent the whole offseason hearing about how underrated Jalen Petrie was. That's what we heard. Jalen Petrie underrated. 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 To the point where I started asking the question, how can someone be underrated if everyone's saying this? Petrie in this game, I'm sure he did some decent things. But between what looked like it may have been cover two man on that first touchdown, the whiff on the run blitz, on the drive that ended in Shaq in the bailout interception, the first bailout interception, and then the dropped interception that would have iced it before Shaq got his interception. Jalen Petrie has not been, I mean, maybe he's been solid, but he's damn sure not a playmaker. He's missed more plays than he's made this year. For sure. Like 100% missed that. I'm going to try to get Wade Smith in here. Former Texans offensive lineman. Let me see what I can do here. I'm going to invite him in. Get your comments in. We'll hear from DeMeco Ryans. We'll hear from CJ Stroud. Wade's going to come through shortly. And we got a stack post game show, which is what we usually do. But the Jalen Petrie thing, man. Whew. We'll get into the refs as well. I thought the refs kind of sucked. They weren't good. There were a number of calls. First of all, Tank Dell, if that's not defenseless, I don't know what is. Tank Dell gets hit in his kidney. Fortunately, he was okay. He came back in the second half, but he gets hit in his kidney, no flag. CJ Stroud gets helmet to helmet. And then they call some fumble where CJ's hand is clearly moving forward. That's not even to mention the Tavier Thomas pass interference where he literally just touches him and lets him keep going. So, yeah, the refs weren't good early on, but it shouldn't have come down to that. I thought Bobby Slowick had perhaps his biggest blunder. Nathan, appreciate you. He says Nick Caserio for Executive of the Year. I mean, I don't know how they assess it, but I mean, if you draft CJ Stroud, you figure all that stuff out, and you look at all this other stuff, I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. Appreciate everyone for coming through. We're going to hear from CJ Stroud. We're going to hear from DeMeco Ryans shortly. We'll hear what they got to say following the Texans 30-27 win. You got to start looking division now. I mean, we were talking playoffs, and a lot of people were reluctant to talk playoffs with this Texans team. Playoffs, I mean, I think it would be a a massive disappointment if you lose to Arizona this week. I don't even know if Arizona's trying to win. I know Kyler's coming back. So you improved to 6-4. You're facing a Jacksonville team and just got beat by the 49ers. You got to be thinking about the division at this point. Be 6-4, 10 games through with the hard part of your schedule coming through? No doubt. Absolutely no doubt. I'm seeing a lot of people on here talking about thank Tyler Boyd for the dub. Yeah, for sure. I mean, if he catches that ball in the end zone, and who knows, maybe if it's T. Higgins instead of Tyler Boyd, yeah, we might be talking about a Bengals dub. I don't disagree with that. No problem with that. But you know what? You got to crawl before you walk, and the Texans are trying to crawl. Bengals are trying to walk. So yeah, absolutely. That was a big break for the Texans, no doubt, no problem acknowledging that at all. Let's go through the game. Get your comments in. Wade Smith going to join me. I think I'm going to get Cody Stutes in here as well. It is a stacked post-game show. Texans win 30-27. Texans are looking pretty good, especially with what's happened in the rest of the division. As a matter of fact, this is what they call a borderline perfect week when it comes to the Texans, because you had the Titans lose to Tampa Bay. You had the Jags lose. Now the Colts won. They're 5-5, so they're sitting there. You're a game ahead of them, but you got a matchup with them. Salute to Shane Steichen doing what he's doing. And somehow the Browns found a way to beat Baltimore. So not all is good. Browns found a way to get it done. Their defense, man. Defense is absolutely insane. Deshaun Watson, 213 yards. I mean, he's just game managing at this point. But that defense is so good that you got that figured out. Slowick almost fumbled that one away. I thought the reffing was bad. I agree. The Bobby Slowick thing, we'll get into that in a sec when we recap the game. But let's go through how this one happened, how the Texans got the dub before we hear from DeMeco Ryans, CJ Stroud, and bring on Wade Smith. Immediately in the game, it felt like the Texans were letting Joe Burrow know they were there on the D-line. Before the game, I said I wanted to see Will Anderson maybe get a sack, maybe make a play. Well, first play of the game, he gets a personal foul of Joe Burrow. Now, the Bengals converted on third down. Then they converted on a fourth, which was close. Props to DeMeco Ryans for not challenging it. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't have faulted him had he done that. But whether it was just trying to figure it out and the clock running out, or the process being so fast that he knew that the first down was converted, he didn't challenge it. And then Derek Stingley, who is back, kind of I mean, I know that some people might say that's cover two. I mean, when you're that deep and you've run with the receiver that much, it's basically man coverage. I know a lot of the film nerds will try to be cool and try to say otherwise, but yeah, you got to stay with the receiver at that point when you're already that deep in the game. And Jalen Petrie was late. I mean, we've seen that. That's been kind of a theme this year. Saw it against Baltimore before, I think, the Dobbins touchdown. Jalen Petrie in coverage, just not great. Not great at all. A little bit late there. You want to blame Stingley, you want to blame Petrie, whatever. Stingley's a little bit rusty. And maybe Petrie's having to do too much with Ward out. So you had that 7-0 right off the top. The Bengals take the lead. So you're starting to wonder, damn, is this going to be shout outs to Hackwashack? Hackashack? Is that, are you doing, I thought it was Hack. Hackashack. I apologize, brother. Appreciate the super chat. CJ let Cincinnati come back so he could lead the final drive. Dude, these are marked. I didn't already read yours. Yeah, CJ let Cincinnati come back so he could get the final drive. Don't know about all that, but it would be cool if he did. So the Bengals take the early 7-0 lead. But it was very clear that the Texans were hitting him early. Texans on their first drive, they don't get anything. They end up punting it right back to the Bengals. They did get one first down. You had Tank Dell and then Singletary 11-yard run, which was kind of like the first early signs that maybe they were going to be able to run the ball. And then they ended up punting. The Cincinnati second drive, Burrow getting roughed up again. You had Blake Cashman with the hit of Burrow on 3rd and 7. You see Burrow moving a little bit gingerly, and then the tackle by Cash forces the punt, which takes us to the Texans' second drive. And this one was kind of rough. You had Schultz for 24 from CJ. CJ found Schultz. Singletary for 6, Singletary for 3. And then you had a Schultz false start. But on 3rd and 6, Stroud finds Woods. So the dart to Schultz, the dart to Woods, and Singletary showing that he can run a little bit. He runs for 27 yards on the next play. Then you get Tank Dell for 9 yards. Cincinnati makes a really dumb challenge. Tank Dell on the sidelines. Like you saw DeMeco kind of hold up on the challenge. Cincinnati a little bit overzealous. They make the challenge, and then the call on the field stands. And then on 4th and 1, CJ Stroud's on his 5th center. And you see CJ Stroud kind of botch the snap. And Cincinnati gets the rock deep in Texans territory. Then you have Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor challenges Tank Dell. The sideline catch, the DeMeco thing. I already kind of mentioned that. I thought that was maybe could have been a bigger deal than it was. But ended up really not being a big deal later on. Like you lose the challenge. DeMeco kept his challenge in his pocket. So it wasn't really as big of a deal as it could have been. But I thought it was nice to see DeMeco against a coach who'd been there, done that, figure that out. Texans defense responds after the 4th down blunder. You kind of feel like these aren't like make or break situations this early in the game, but the defense, they respond, they force a 3 and out, and then the Texans get the ball right back, and the Texans offense responds as well. This is a team that responds. It's kind of a theme. So you had the defense respond, and then the Texans tie it up 7-7. You had this was the Tank Dell drive. You had the reverse from Hutchinson to Tank Dell for 13. You had Stroud to Dell for 17. Noah Brown moves the chains. My God, he was awesome today. And then Tank Dell for the touchdown to make it 7-7. So the Texans respond after the blunder. 7-7, we still here. Cincinnati not running away with it. Then you have kind of a scary moment with the game at 7-7. Tank Dell gets roughed up. I don't know if he's not defenseless. I don't know what the hell a defenseless receiver is. And look, I'm not sitting here saying that I agree with all the calls that are made. But I mean, if a guy with the ball 15 feet over his head is diving for the ball that's not even catchable and getting hit right in his kidney is not a defenseless receiver, I mean, we might need to just get rid of the rule. And then after that, you have CJ Stroud finding Dalton Schultz for 19 on 3rd and 14. That was after a penalty. And just ass officiating overall on that drive. I'm not a ref guy. I know a lot of people have blamed the refs, but I thought that was a piss poor job of officiating on this drive, where you have the defenseless receiver, which is debatable. You have the Stroud helmet to helmet. I don't know what the hell that was. And then you call it a fumble and not an incomplete pass. And here's my problem with that. Because I kind of think refs are in a tough spot here. And sometimes I think it's easy to criticize refs because they're easy targets. But on one hand, you're telling the official, hey, whatever's called on the field, let's go ahead and give that the benefit of the doubt. And then on the other hand, on turnovers, you're saying, hey, call it a turnover so we can go review it. So it's kind of hard for a ref to begin with because I don't know, like if turnovers weren't reviewable, they might have called that a forward pass right off the top. But they're doing it so they can review it because they want to get it right. But then the call that they maybe made just so they could review it, they're trained to where they're looking at it from a perspective of, hey, the call on the field is going to get the benefit of the doubt. So that's kind of a little bit of a tough situation for them, and I actually feel bad for them, despite the fact that I just said it was ass officiating on that series. I'll get done with the half. I'll bring Wade Smith in to revisit the second half, but in the final play of the second half, or final drive of the second half, before we hear from DeMeco and CJ and Wade Smith, Stroud finds Brown for 28. Damn, the Cowboys didn't want him. They wanted Brandon Cooks instead. We sure that's a good idea right there. That seems kind of a blessing for the Texans. It's $13 million cheaper too. Goodness gracious. Texans basically paid for a freaking BMW and got a damn Maybach, and the Cowboys basically bought a damn Rolls Royce, and they're getting a Honda Civic from Brandon Cooks. So then Stroud finds Brown for 28. Final play before the 2-minute warning. Slow to get up, though. You kind of wondered about this. This was interesting because if you want to nitpick and you want to look at like a potential, not necessarily disaster, but an interesting situation, there's 41 seconds left, and the Texans elect not to call a timeout because maybe they think Stroud's roughed up. Maybe they're playing for the field goal. On third down, they throw the ball. Could have been caught by Schultz. It was a good effort by Schultz inside the 10. It falls incomplete, so it doesn't matter. Amendola kicks the field goal, 45-yard field goal, barely. Tell me how confident you were in that one when it went off the foot and before. And the Texans take the lead. But you're wondering, is CJ Stroud okay? And had they gotten inside the 10, had to use their final timeout, how would that have gone? And then we wrap up the first half with Dare. Good God, he might not be kicking, but he kicked the living crap out of whoever received that kick on the Cincinnati Bengals. Back to his comfort zone, covering kicks, and the Texans take a 10-7 lead into the second half. I'm going to bring in Wade Smith. I'm bringing Cody Stutes a little bit later as well. Smitty, so we get to the second half. It's 10-7. What were your early thoughts on the way that the game went in the first half for the Texans, the way the game started?
I mean, they were running the ball well. They were moving the pill up and down the field. They had the turnover on that 4th and 1 where they were inside. I think they were inside like the 10 or 15-yard line on the Bengals. That was unfortunate. But after that first drive by the Bengals offense where they just went down the field and scored a touchdown early on, the Texans defense was playing very well. I thought that Sheldon Rankins and Malik Collins were picking on the guards of Cincinnati all game long. Rankins, it paid off. I think he had 3 sacks. The sack that he had in the second half, that you talking about some grown man stuff right there. Like, I don't know if number 65 has kids or not, or a wife, but that stuff you don't want them to see that play. You want to throw that one out. But I just thought that in the first half of the game, it looked like to me that, the Texans were playing good enough to win it. And as long as they kept running the ball well and CJ was going to do what he did and slow down the Bengals, they were going to come out with a dub. So I had a good feeling about how things were going as they ended the first half.
Yeah, the end of the first half. Now, I think you're kind of lying there because
about what?
You probably did after the first half, but there's no way you felt confident in that kick, man. I did not want to see the field goal go up.
Are you talking about at the end of the game?
At the end of both, but especially at the end of that first half. And I was also a little worried about CJ because last week at the end of the first half, we saw the way that they attacked was kind of symbolic of how Fairbairn was, how he was feeling because they weren't really trying to aggressively get the field goal. Right, and then this week you kind of had CJ get nicked up, and then they let 22 seconds go off the clock before they call a timeout and they throw it to Schultz. So I was kind I was a little bit worried about CJ, but I was terrified of that kick.
I mean, I felt better about the kick than Dare doing it, and they let Dare kick the ball, and he made it. I mean, if you're XFL, NFL, whatever, if you're a kicker, you can make a 40-something yard field goal. Like, come on, now. That's what you're paid to do. So if it was anything with a 5 in front, I'd have been like, man, nah. But if it's a 4 in the front, you got to make that if you're in the NFL.
So we get to the second half. Wade Smith here. We'll talk to Stutes a little later on. We're gonna relive the second half with Smitty. So the first drive of the second half was interesting. I think this is probably going to be the one that we see on Football Night in America. The Houdini play from CJ Stroud. And this was after Singletary had a 12-yard run en route to 150 yards rushing. You have the Houdini-ish from Stroud to Brown. Singletary keep him running the rock. Mechie sighting inside the 5. And then an interesting one. I don't want to like it. They call Robert Woods out of bounds. And they end up, saying it was an illegal touch.
Bro.
It's 13-7. I want to hear what you want to say about it, because I have my thoughts on it too. Like, I almost feel like you have to be wanting to see him go out of bounds to make the call in that situation with no impact on anything going on. Maybe a toe, but I feel like the ref, you probably would have been more productive, like looking where all the action was. It's almost like he wanted to take his hat off because he felt cool about it. I didn't get that.
So I didn't feel no type of way about the initial call live on the field because it was very close. Live on the field, I could see how a ref could get that wrong. But once they sent it to New York, I was like, all right, they're gonna get this corrected, because you can clearly see that he didn't touch it. He was tiptoeing in his Jordans, and he was fine. He did not step out of bounds. I don't understand how you can look at that in New York where there's no crowd around you. You just lock in and watch the tape and see this dude didn't step out of bounds. He did not step out of bounds. CJ Stroud makes a ridiculous throw, running around.
Insane.
I don't know how you even finds him, but he finds him. It's this play should be, on all the highlight films, and something that we could talk about in the lore of CJ Stroud. But fortunately for us and for him, he makes plays like that on a consistent basis. But that should have been one of them. It was a terrible call by New York to get that wrong. I wasn't mad in the moment because it was close. And you do, like you said, you have to be looking for that, but that's his job. He has to look on that back line to see if he see, and it was close. So I ain't mad at him making an initial call, but New York got to get that right. There's no point in going to New York if you're not going to get that call right.
I'm mad at the initial call as much as anything, but the Texans take a 13-7 lead. You're trying to get the 2 possessions. You don't get it. The next Cincinnati possession, we had a Boyd drop. Wouldn't be his biggest one, but Boyd had a drop, kind of bounced up. Felt like one of those, are they going to intercept it? It hits the ground. And then Sheldon Rankins with another massive sack. Look, man, they invested, the most money to a free agent, to Sheldon Rankins, and he's already earned it. Like, this is like, they don't win this game without Sheldon Rankins. He was just completely wreaking havoc. And Sheldon Rankins, it gives you a little bit of breathing room. And at this point, you're thinking, give me 3 more, give me 2 possessions. That's just how I'm looking at it. Hey, give me 2 possessions, but they got a little bit greedy though.
Yeah, when you look at the way Rankins was rushing the passer, Collins, Grenard had another big game. Anderson drew a big holding penalty. Like, the way that they were able to get after the quarterback just rushing 4, that's what allowed them to keep the Bengals off balance. Burrow still was Burrow. He made a lot of plays. That's what you expect out of him. But the Texans defense and their defensive line did enough to get the job done.
Yeah, and then right after that play, you have Bobby Slowick kind of goes in his bag a little bit. They throw the 40-yard pass to Tate Dell, pass interference, which, that's the same thing as a 40-yard catch. And then Devin Singletary caps it off, and you take a 27 lead. And at this point, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. I like the aggressiveness here by Bobby Slowick. We'll get to the end of the game, because
is this the same drive where he did the end around to?
That was
It's the next one.
That was at the end of the first half. Yeah, the end
No,
around.
no.
Oh, you're talking about
I'm
two.
talking about the one to Hutchinson.
No, not yet. We're not there yet.
Okay. Because when that drive took place, I said to myself, "Hey, Sloke he's not playing no games right now. He was in his bag. He was chef. He was master chefing at that point. So, but that's what that offense does for you, especially if you're running the ball well. It opens up everything. That's why they showed a little replay about the 2-man routes that they were running. That's what was done back in 2009, 10, 11, back in those Kubiak days. That's what that scheme allows you to do. Is if you're running the ball decently, you're forcing those linebackers to come up and play the run, and there's huge holes in the secondary, and the routes that they run, it makes it tough for over the top defenders to handle it. And you got an accurate passer like CJ Stroud. He's just picking on guys, and it is fun to watch.
So you got the 20-7 lead. Bengals kind of that they threaten a little bit, but you have Will Anderson. He draws a penalty on first down. And then he teams up with JG for a third down sack, forces long field goal by McPherson. He makes it, and the Bengals kind of to 20-10, which you feel okay about. You're 20-10. You feel good about. Texans, though, then unable to do anything. They end up punting, and then this is where Jamar Chase goes from decoy to, oh, damn, he is on the field. 64-yard pass from Burrow to Chase. Now, before that, let me just say that Tavier Thomas interception was one of the corniest ones. I don't know what we're doing there. Just a little bit of a bump.
Are you talking about the pass interference they called?
Yes.
Yeah, that was
rough.
That was kind of janky there. I mean, to me, it just looked like if at worst case it's illegal contact, but it was he barely touched him. Like it wasn't like he really rerouted him. Like I bet you the coach would say, you need to do a better job of getting more, being more physical with the guy, getting more on him, so you can route him, because he didn't break stride. It didn't affect his progress at all. So
that's one of those where you watch the tape and you say, hey, you probably need to push him a little bit harder there.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, the coach in practice, the next day when you're watching the film, they're going to be like, yeah, you need to reroute this guy. You got to do a better job of widening him so that we can, play defense over the top. But that didn't happen, but yet he still got called for the penalty. So it was ticky-tack call, but, you're on the road. You playing against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. They're the quote-unquote blue blood organization when you're playing right now. That's what they've been looking like the last 4 or 5 years. So, that I wasn't mad about that call. I just thought it was.
It was much. Nah, I was more mad about the incomplete pass call. But they cut it to 20-17. We'll get into the fourth quarter. By the way, it is the locker room. Be sure to subscribe, like. If you're in here, just go ahead and like. Right along. Got Wade Smith with me. So the Texans respond here very nice. They give you a little bit of breathing room. 20-17. You're kind of freaking out. Stroud uses his legs to make it 27-17. In that drive, you had Singletary for 5, Brown for 35 to the Cincinnati 35. This is where you get the Hutch reverse, which, by the way, he looks really good running the rock. You get the Hutch, and then you get Singletary for 10 more. So just some good hard-nosed ball. My favorite thing about CJ Stroud with this whole just what he is right now is I just think it's admirable that all the weaknesses and maybe overanalyzed weaknesses and maybe justifiable, their strengths now in the NFL. Like, it's actually kind of amazing. Like, if you just watch CJ Stroud, let's say we watch him the first 10 games of where we are right now, or 9 games, whatever. If you just watch CJ Stroud and then you said, all right, let's go, never watched him play in college, let's go read the scouting report. And the biggest knock in what he admitted was, maybe I should have used my legs more to extend plays, and maybe I should have ran when I can and all that type of stuff. Like, it's his strength right now. Like, it's something that he does right now at an insane level. It seems like the game, I don't want to be like generic basic bitch analyst type guy, but like, it does seem like the game goes pretty slow for him, and he always has his head downfield. Like when he I guess you could technically say he threw across his body, but he always had his feet set and he's always looking right there. I don't know. It's just it's cool to watch. And it was
Yeah,
nice to see it on 27-17 lead, first rushing touchdown of his career, I believe.
yeah, it's fun to watch CJ operate. You look at he was always accurate in college. You wondered if that was going to translate to the league because he had so many advantages. But you know how I am about that whole thought process, because we had talks about this with Kyler Murray back in the day. Like, I'm never going to hold it against the guy because the people around you are really good. The fact of the matter is,
Joe Burrow wouldn't have got drafted if you'd done that, you know. And I mean, I know,
right.
I think it's a good discussion to have, like you know. But I mean, Ohio State, LSU, like they had,
I mean, they're going to have weapons around him, but the dude, he was hitting guys in stride. He was always accurate with getting the pill to where he needed to get it. The ball placement, everything was a catchable ball. He was able to do those things in college. So you think, okay, that's going to translate to the league. He's going to be able to play well. Now, the thing that you thought about is, like, how quickly is he going to pick up the offense? How quickly is he going to pick up being able to decipher the disguises of the defense, because it's at a different level when you're in the league as far as what you're seeing in college. And then dealing with having receivers that might not make the play that somebody else that you had back in the day could make because they're not quite talented. Well, he's still accurate as hell. His receivers are stepping up. Guys like Noah Brown are having career years. Schultz, Brown already got,
Collins.
did he get like a 2-year deal? Or he signed a 2-year deal or 3?
Noah?
Yeah.
I think it was 1.
It was just a 1-year deal. Okay, so he gonna get paid. Schultz gonna get paid on his 1-year deal. Based off of what because CJ, he's in his bag. Like,
yeah, Noah 1 for 2.6. That's pretty good.
So he said no finna him over the head. Because listen, CJ, this is the thing about this kid, man. When it's 3rd and 12, it don't matter.
Yeah, you're straight.
It's 3rd and 14. He just gonna sit back there and convert. And so that gives you supreme confidence as an offensive lineman, as receivers, as a defense, as a team as a whole. You got somebody back there that, because there's a lot of teams, a lot of times when it's 3rd and 14, you think run a screen or a draw, play field position. You don't want to make a mistake. We're going to win the game in a different manner. With CJ Stroud, the Texans got one of those guys. They got one of those Burrows. They got one of those. It's not that many great quarterbacks in the league right now, honestly, that you feel that way about. But CJ Stroud is one of them.
Yeah, and I think the best thing for it, and I think you kind of touched on a little bit. And I thought this was, I mean, I don't want to get in MVP discussion. It's kind of exhausting, especially in Houston. I think there are a lot of people here that lost their integrity, basically convincing themselves that Steph Curry sucked, arguing for Harden all those years. So I don't, and the Greek.
That's just fan hate. That's all that is. That's just fan hate.
Yeah, I get it, but
yeah.
I think when you watch someone go without their offensive lineman and win games, you watch them go without Tank Dell and beat New Orleans. You watch them go without Nico Collins and beat Cincinnati. You watch him go without Noah Brown for 4 games. You watch him go without Robert Woods for 2 games. You watch him when his defense is depleted. To me, like, when you're talking like valuable and stuff, like, that kind of eliminates the chicken or egg argument. Like, it's not like we're not sitting here arguing about, well, this guy's good because he has these receivers or this offensive line or all that. Like, it kind of eliminates that. So I don't know how. I'm not sitting here saying CJ Stroud for MVP or anything like that, but I'm saying, like, the value is very clear to see. Like,
listen, Landry, just look at it this way, Landry. What would the Texans' record be if number 10 was starting the quarterback? Just think about that. What would their record be right now?
I don't think they would have won a game.
2-7, 1-8.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if they would have won a game.
I mean, that you talk about WAR, wins above replacement. Like, just think about it. Even if Case was the quarterback, what's the record? 3-6?
I don't know.
I don't
even know if it's that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's protecting the football. He fumbled it a couple times today, threw a pick today. That was the most he's been kind of loose with the ball. I thought one of the fumbles wasn't a fumble. It should have been an incomplete pass. But I just tell you what, he's one of those guys that can go win you a game. And when there's time left on the clock, you're not nervous. You just think to yourself, oh, we got time to do this. We're gonna go do it. Even if Boyd catches that ball later on in the ball game, and he catches that touchdown. What did the Bengals show you on that last drive that CJ Stroud and the Texans weren't going to go down there and score a touchdown to win the game?
Yeah,
They
because
didn't show us anything on that drive.
I
They
was
said that they was going to stop them.
I've already adjusted to where, I was glad that Boyd got inside the 10 on that long play, because I was like, okay, you got 3 timeouts, 3 plays. You're going to have, minute 20, minute 25, and you're going to figure some stuff out. So I was already there. Before we even get to that point, though, we'll get to Bobby Slowick. God, I love you, Bobby. I'm glad you got this done. I don't want to. DeAndre Houston Carson. How about that? No Jimmy Ward. He makes you feel pretty comfortable because he gets the interception. Now, I want to say this. Like, one of my big wishes last week was, I'd love to see Will Anderson and Jalen Petrie, come through and make big plays. On this, before this interception, Jalen Petrie, I think it's like the 3rd or 4th time that DeMeco has just dialed up a perfect damn run blitz or a blitz of the quarterback, and he executes everything perfectly except actually tackling the guy. We saw it with Bryce Young, where Bryce spun off and made the biggest play of the game for the Panthers to Thielen. And then we saw it here, but next man up, DeMeco says it, and DeAndre Houston Carson, he makes things a little bit comfortable with the interception.
Hey, even before this, earlier in the ball game, he was coming up tagging people, making like he was solid, making tackles early in the ball game. I'm like, who is 30?
Yeah.
Who's this guy? Okay, I see you 30. Like he was showing up on watching the game.
I had to check that paper roster. That training camp paper roster.
I just was like, I don't know who this kid is, but I like him. He's form tackling. Like, he was doing a good job there early in the game. Gets a pick later in the game. But Petrie, man, like, he had about 3 or 4 shots to like win the game or make the play he's just this far off. He just just run through that tackle against Mixon. You run through it instead of diving to try to make the tackle, and you make that play, or you give your teammates enough time to swarm to the ball and get the guy down. But Petrie will make those plays. He just hasn't made them this year yet. He made more of those plays last year
and they picked his ass up. That's the other thing. That's your teammates picking your ass up. That's when you start talking about it. So the Texans go 3 and out. An even bigger misplay by Petrie, the interception. I mean, that's church right there. That's 5 minutes left. That's 10-point lead. That's on their side of the field. That's church right there. He misses it. Cincinnati's driving. It's getting really interesting. And how I know it's interesting is sometimes I look at like betting odds to see, what to perhaps make a wager, but also to see what the what the odds are, what they think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Before Cincinnati threw that interception, they were 15-1, and they went up down to 2-1 when they got in the red zone. They were 15-1 before that drive, and then they went down to 2-1 odds, which is a massive drop. But Shaq Griffin with the interception, and you're feeling good. And so Bobby Slowick will appear here. This is oh man, I'm very, very upset with him, and this is on the record too. I said it in the moment. I'm sure that a lot of people did. I got to go Jeff Van Gundy, but you get the interception from Shaq, another guy stepping up, another signing that they made in the offseason, and the Texans get the ball, and this is where there was a near disaster. I do not know for the life of me what they were doing here. You get a couple of runs from Devin Singletary to make it 3rd and 2. You got about 3 minutes and change left. Devin Singletary has 30 carries. He ends up with 150 yards. He's averaging 5 a pop. And you decide to run play action. You roll out. CJ Stroud throws the interception, and it gave Cincinnati a significant amount of life. I thought this was a brain fart by Slowick. I thought this was a huge mistake. Not hindsight. In this situation, you can't do that. Like you've got to make them use their last time out. Hell, if he gets 2 yards, the game's over. He decides to throw, and a near epic meltdown that, God, I don't even want to think about what it would have been like. But
yeah, the unfortunate thing there is when you look at the run look that they had, it was the look that you want to actually run the ball, to run the playoff tackle, run 19. They could have ran 19 on that play because they had the look to run it. And he, it wasn't, you could tell it wasn't one of those plays that they were checking to either the run or the pass. It was literally, hey, we've seen a certain looks we think we're going to get. We're going to be able to get them free. They're going to expect us to run the ball here. We're going to do the play action and throw a nice little quick pass here. And, CJ's been very protective with the ball all the time. But the thing that keeps you from making that decision is the idea that by running the ball, you force them to use their third timeout. Because, inherently, the play call, it's not a terrible play call in theory, but in that situation, you do got to run the ball, especially when you got the look that you want. That they've been having success all game long running against that same look, running those same similar type plays, just running off tackle to the left, and they didn't call it. I had a quick flashback of 2013 against Seattle, where Richard Seymour got the pick six, and that changed the entire trajectory of the franchise. Eventually got Kubiak fired. Eventually got Bill O'Brien here. Eventually got your good buddy, the POS here. A lot of things happened, and it started with that decision on a 3rd and short to do a bootleg and throw the ball. So I had a little flashback. But the difference is this. I was like, for one, the Texans defense has been playing pretty good all game. They've been getting after the quarterback. Burrow has thrown an interception or two by now. Even if they take the lead, even if they go ahead, you still got CJ Stroud. And they've been moving the ball up and down the field all day long. So that was like the ace in the hole. But you want to finish the game and close out a game as soon as you can.
Run the ball, Bobby.
Take the stress out of the fan base. Take the stress out of the situation. Just run the ball right there. They would have got
running the ball well. If you're running the ball like you had all year, that'd be one thing, but you're running the ball well, my friend.
Yeah, watch that first play of the drive. They ran an off-tackle play, got like 5 yards. Just watch how Titus Howard and Dieter came off the ball and drove. Like, you saw the line of scrimmage move.
Yeah.
You could tell that the line knew in their head, like, let's go win the game. And they were coming off the ball like, let's go win the game. So when you have that going on, like, trust in your big guys.
I don't want to, I just think it was just next level moronic by Bobby Slowick, but it tones down with the win. But I do want to give him credit because I don't want to just focus on the negative with Bobby, especially when they win. I thought he did a very, very superb job at the end of the first half where they let the clock go down to 2:01 instead of trapping with 2:19, and you throw the ball, and an incompletion is the same consequence as a completion there. So you're not even risking giving Cincinnati the rock. So I actually thought he did a perfect job there. Again, he was in his bag all day. Sometimes it doesn't matter, though, if you have brain farts like this. Sometimes you don't live to talk about it. But he was in his bag, but I just thought that was awful.
Also on that play where he let it roll down to 2:01, the defense in that moment is thinking to themselves, are they going to let it run all the way down to 2-minute warning or not? So even if it's a guy or two that relax a little and you run the play, that's just a slight advantage. Just the thought process behind doing that, I thought was A1. Then they get the big completion, and then they go on and move the ball down the field. But even in addition to that, we talked about it a little bit, Slowick running the reverse to Tank Dell off of the action where they were giving it to Hutchinson. They had been running that play to Hutchinson and had success games before this. So this is on film that Cincinnati knows this is something they do. So then they do the reverse to Tank Dell. He gets like 13 yards. Boom. Then later on in the ball game, he comes back to the Xavier Hutchinson play, and they actually give it to him, and he keeps it. And they get another chunk play after that. Like, to me, that's because now when they see Hutchinson get the ball after they just got burnt, they got burnt early in the game by Tank Dell, they're going to hesitate a little bit. So it just gives you that much more. To me, that's making everything look the same but doing different things. That's kind of the philosophy of this offense. Like, everything's going to start off looking the same, but it's going to be different things, and we're going to play off of what we did before to keep you to hesitate and to keep you fooled. And I just thought he was in his bag doing that. It was fun to watch. It was very fun to watch just the way the plays were getting called and how guys were executing. Guys were going out there and executing, man. Guys were making plays. Like, Mechie on the sideline, Tank Dell making plays, Noah Brown making plays, Schultz making plays. Offensive line, moving guys out the ball. Singletary toting that thing. CJ, like everybody, a lot of guys was out there executing and playing at a high level. And so then it coincides with the way that the game was being called by Bobby Slowick.
No doubt. So Bengals cut it to 3, 27-24. Wade Smith in the building. Be sure to subscribe, like, ride along. Got Stoots coming through. We'll hear from DeMeco. We'll hear from CJ. We'll hear from you as well. They get the ball again. Another third down throw, man. We're throwing deep, so we're letting Devin Singletary run effectively for 7 yards, putting it in position to where 3 yards ends the game again, and takes off some clock. And we decided to throw the ball deep to Tank Dell. I was losing it at this point.
See, in that situation, I thought, hey, let's run an option route to one of the slot receivers. Let's run the seam, run a little slip screen to Tank Dell and let him go. But the 9 route on 3rd and 3 just didn't make a lot of sense to me. And so I'm sure if he had that play to do over, he would have done something differently. To me, handing the ball off out of the gun on 3rd and 3 to me would have been more of almost a throwaway play. Even though they've been running the ball well all day, they've been running the ball.
Fine with the throwaway play. Throw it away, or just run it with Singletary and see if you can get 3 yards, and then we'll see what happens. I was fine with that.
I wouldn't have been a fan of that because they were getting
and run some clock,
but it was within the scheme of the offense, I guess you can say, and running the ball, on 3rd and 3 out of the formation that they lined up in. If they lined up in something different and ran the ball, then but what they were lined up in, to me, hey, let's run an angle route to Singletary out the backfield. Let's run a little slip screen, kind of the plays that they like to run to Nico Collins all the time to get you 3 or 4 yards. But Nico will bust through a tackle and make it 8 to 12 yards. Like running one of those plays to me would have been something easy to convert. But hey, when you look at the totality of the performance by Bobby Slowick and the way that
the totality
the game,
because it didn't end up biting him.
It didn't bite him. I just thought overall he did a damn good job. But towards the end, there was a couple plays there where you were like, but even on the last drive.
The last drive of the game. The last drive was, I feel like that was a lot of CJ too. But they were nice plays, but that was a lot of CJ. And then you had Amendola in the game. Now the Boyd drop, I see some people talking, hey, you can thank Boyd. Yeah, no kidding. Thank you. That was a big drop. Thank you very much. But then you go, I think 25 to Schultz, 27 to Brown, or 25 and 21.
Yeah, and there was a drop by Tank Dell in the middle that it would have been.
Yeah, there was a hold two by Fant, and the offensive lineman defended him. That was holding.
No, it was not holding, sir. Just because you looked at it from an angle and you don't know any better, that's okay. But he was pushing the guy past the hole. That's not holding at all. 10 out of 10 times it's not holding. Just because you say it's a thing doesn't mean it's a thing.
Charge it to the game.
That wasn't even a good opinion. Like I can maybe see where you saw it that way because of the angle they showed it, but it definitely wasn't holding. He was pushing him past the hole, like pressing. If you're pushing and pressing somebody, it's never a hold. It's only if you're restricting and grabbing that there's a hold. So, sorry.
Smitty, appreciate you. It's nice to talk about winning for a while. 5-4, Jags lose. So if you beat the Cardinals,
Tennessee lost too. It's always good to talk about the Titans losing.
Yeah, Colts 5-5. Props to Shane Steichen. I know he was another guy that people were high on. He's done an excellent job with Minshew out there. So you got to give him his credit. But it's a good day. Browns won though, but yeah, it is what it is. Kind of their game management.
Yeah, I think that's 2 for 2 times where the Texans win the game late, but then since the Cleveland Browns somehow pull a rabbit out of the house, had to win the game late too. But you don't care.
No,
like it is. Okay. It is what it is. The Texans are not a team that we absolutely need a number 2 overall pick.
My mindset now is I'm pissed off because you're competing with them for the playoffs. Like I'm not even talking from a draft pick perspective. Like that's nice, but my perspective is you're competing with them for the playoffs at this point.
Well, but the difference between them and us is they play in the AFC North.
Yeah,
and we don't. So I ain't worried about that part of it, especially with the rest of the schedule that the Texans got going on. Like, that's not the team I'm looking at that's going to be going, neck and neck. So
2-1 in the North, man. What the hell's the North?
Huh?
2-1 in the AFC North. What the hell's that? That's some Big East type stuff.
Who's the one we haven't played yet?
Cleveland.
Okay, so when is that game?
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. Look at NFL. Look what they be doing, dog. Yeah. Hey, they know what they doing, dog. I don't care what nobody say. NFL knows what they doing. Oh, we didn't mean to do that. Hey. Yeah. It's gonna get flexed too, or some kind of way. Watch.
Yep. All right, man. I appreciate you, dude. Have a good one. Enjoy the games. Probably talk to you soon. Fun stuff, man.
It's always real.
All right, there you go. The man, Wade Smith, here in the locker room. We'll hear from DeMeco Ryans. We'll hear from CJ Stroud in a second. Texans win. Biggest takeaway, CJ Stroud. If you have CJ Stroud, you have a chance. Be sure to subscribe, like, right along. Bobby Slowick, you can be awesome, but one little stupid brain fart can ruin it. But when you have CJ Stroud, he can fix it. So that is a big takeaway. Sheldon Rankins, without him, they don't win this game. Props to Caserio, props to DeMeco. And you can say that through and through. Shout out to Noah Effin Brown. Good Lord. Cowboys didn't want you. Texans were glad to hop in and get that, as well as Dalton Schultz. Stutes, what's up? How you living? I'm assuming that you've finished a little bit of writing. How you feel about that dub?
That's what a game. I mean, I got to lose some weight. I can't do this every week. My heart's not going to take this. It's just, they're not supposed to be this exciting this early in what you put together. Like, this is a team that had the number 2 overall pick. They had to go out there, get a brand new coach, third coach in 3 years. And you're like, okay, well, the last team that did the third coach in 3 years thing, it worked out pretty good for them. San Fran stunk the very first year when Shanahan was there. And now DeMeco Ryans has got this team poised to make some noise in the AFC in their very first year with him at the helm. You got a budding superstar at quarterback. I'm not so sure that he's not the best quarterback in the AFC South right now. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, like, I understand what he's supposed to be. He's not regularly that guy. CJ Stroud is now regularly that guy, it feels like. Man, this is just – it's not supposed to look like this. I felt like this was the type of game when they finished it, like, oh, okay, like they could have played that game at the end of the year and you could have seen how it got there. To be where they are in the season, week 10 of the NFL season, and have this level of play with this team, with all these guys missing. And here's the thing that I don't think we talk about enough. Just because a guy plays on Sunday doesn't mean he's anywhere close to 100%. I bet a bunch of those dudes went out there at 75, 80%. Steven Nelson, I mean, the guy barely – he didn't even practice all week. He's out there doing side work, busting his ass, and they run him out there on Sunday, and he's out there making plays. Like, it's a gutty, incredible performance. It's the intestinal fortitude that this organization has not showcased in years.
Yeah, and I mean, now you're looking at the division. You've transitioned from playoffs to division, and I mean that's just the reality of the situation. You got Arizona. You're feeling good with Jacksonville, and I know you can't overlook anyone. They're not to that point, but you got to be feeling good. You got to be talking about division now. So that's where we're at, man.
Yeah.
I know you got some writing to do. Tell the people where they can watch you tonight. Tell the people where they can read. One of the best guys on the beat, one of the best resources that you can have as a Texans fan, guy who's there every day, guy who's putting in that work.
Yeah, so Houston Football is my website, www.houfootball.com. If you got to put the www, it doesn't work. Or just type my name in, Houston Football, Cody Stutes, in the search machine, the Google machine, you'll find it. I got the observations up. 4 free ones, 11 total for the paid subscribers, 11 plus actually for the paid subscribers, and $7 a month. Get all the writing. I do the video breakdowns of CJ Stroud on Tuesdays. I mean, I'll make it worth your $7. That's for damn sure. Of course, I got the YouTube stuff going as well, just trying to get into the slipstream that is the Landry Locker rocket ship that's going to the top.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate you, man.
I'm getting kicked out. I'm done already.
Well, I thought you had some writing to do.
Wade Smith got 30 minutes. I get that he went to a Pro Bowl, but
I thought you had some writing to do. There's no deadline.
The writing's done.
Okay, well then let's hear from DeMeco Ryans. I
Okay.
always want you. I'm trying to be courteous of your time.
I don't have anything till I got to go record TV later.
All right, let's hear. Oh, look at you. Let's hear from DeMeco Ryans. DeMeco Ryans speaks. Texans get the dub. Cody Stutes riding along here in the locker room on YouTube.
Credit Cincinnati, really good football team. And can't say enough how good those guys play, but so proud of our guys for finding a way to win, right? And that's what we talked about Saturday night, just whatever it takes, finish every snap. And I told the guys it comes down to the last snap. We still found a way to finish. So really proud of the way our guys fought, proud of the plays that they made, all right, to help us win that game. And, of course, we got to play cleaner. A lot of mistakes that we made to even make that game close. But things we can clean up, and it's better to clean them up after a win.
I guess what are your feelings after such a game that's back with the interception? It gets closer. What are your feelings after?
Oh, I'm excited, man. To the way our team battled, I'm so proud of our team. Excited for them to be in a tight football game versus a playoff football team and come up with a win. Like that's where we're headed as a team, right? And we're showing that we're a good team. We're showing that we can win tight games at the end of the game. So, I'm really proud of the way our guys battled.
You talk about the way that you mentioned playing tight game. This is on the road, and they got the crowd and everything else. You just got the turnover and everything. The way your guys just sort of settled down at the end, just won and just put it big.
Right, no one wavered right on our sideline. That's what I love. I love the resolve of our team. Everyone believed that we were going to win. Everyone put in the work and made the plays to help us win this game. But it starts with the confidence that you have to win these tight games, and also knowing that we got guys, CJ, the receivers, Noah stepping up, having a big game. Like guys stepped up and made big plays. And none other than Motor, the way he ran the football today is our best rushing game this year. Credit to the O-line and Motor for the way he ran the football. It was impressive to see, and I love the way he finished all of his runs.
Speaking of confidence, you just talk about CJ. Once he makes a mistake, it seems like he almost learns from it. And as the game goes on, he gets better.
It's impressive to see a young kid, right, make mistakes and grow from it in the same game, right? And for us to be able to come out with a win after some mistakes that he made and still be able to win the game and learn from it. It's much better to correct that after a win than a loss. So really proud of CJ, and he let me know that, hey, we got you. After the interception, he let me know we got you. We're going to make a play, right, to help us win this game.
Coach, during training camp, CJ, other players, they mentioned that they thought this year they could shock the world. What was it about this team that made them believe that this year they could shock the world?
I think it's not about, for me, shocking the world. It's just about guys in our locker room believing in each other. That's all that matters. We really don't care what the outside world says. It's just about the men in this locker room believing in each other and going to prove it one snap at a time.
This been next man pretty much all season. For Matt to come in and replace Miami in a game like that, how big was he?
For sure. Matt stepped in and did an unbelievable job for us. Veteran kicker who's been there before, done it before. So happy to have him, right? And the confidence that we had in him in his range, and we got it in a good spot for him, and he nailed it, right? 3 field goals, and there to win the game winner after only being with us for a week. Credit to Matt. Proud of him for stepping in for us with us losing Emi.
You talk about the confidence that the team have within themselves. How much of that starts with you, though, and the confidence that you exude onto them?
It's about them, not me. It's all about these guys, all about the men in the locker room and the work that they put in day after day that no one sees. Right? They put in the work, and they came out here today, and they were the best team for 3 hours on Sunday, and that's all that matters.
Coach, you talk about that.
The confidence and the belief it takes to win games like this, was that here when you got there, or did it take a good time?
It takes time. The confidence comes from the men, right? It comes from, first off, starting with the quarterback position. And the confidence, I think, that CJ has given to our entire, not only team, but our entire organization. You want to win tight games, you got to have a quarterback who can make those big-time plays to put you in position to win games. So it starts there with him.
What you said about getting a crunch time to find a couple minutes you can do this?
Yeah, the thing about CJ is just it's the calmness in the chaos, right? He doesn't waver. He's confident that he's going to make plays, and the moment isn't too big for him.
DeMeco, you played in this league. You're drafted by this organization. How rare is that when we talk about being calm in the chaos for a rookie quarterback to be able to still stand in the pocket and deliver throws without hesitation?
For CJ, I think the calmness starts for him. Like, he's played in a lot of big games at Ohio State. He's been under the big lights before, the bright lights, and he's made big plays. So he doesn't get wide-eyed when the moment comes, right? He understands that, hey, I know within myself I believe, and I believe in my teammates. I believe in myself. I believe in the O-line that's protecting me. I know I'm going to make plays. It was awesome having Rankins back, and you see what Rankins can do for us, right? The pressure that he got today, consistent pressure on the pocket, and for him to get 3 sacks, a huge game for him. Happy to have him back.
To see the results, to see what is out there, what is that like for you to put the tail on the offense?
Whatever has happened in the past. We're the 2023 Texans, and we're moving forward.
DeMeco, what's the thought process on the timeouts? Because you had 3 timeouts, 2 minutes, and all of a sudden, especially when you call the one at the 30-second mark. Was that something in the back of your mind that y'all could probably get the ball and make that drive and just get to within?
Yeah, definitely thought process, just being able to get in the field goal range there, give us time, and I think guys, the offense operated really well, with the clock management piece there. Everybody did an excellent job. Yeah, it was Derek is his first game back. I think it's Derek is getting back into it. Didn't want to just put him back out there his first game and have him play however many 60-plus snaps, right? So it wouldn't be fair to Derek. So, and for Steven, he was dealing with issues all week, but he battled through. Right, pushed through the game today, and I think we had a healthy balance of mixing both of their guys in.
Coach, a lot of closing stories, DJ. Coach, the offensive line doesn't get a lot of credit throughout the week as far as making the highlight films and things like that. Can you just talk about the job that they did today?
Our O-line has been playing well. All right, for the past couple of weeks, they've been playing well, and it's even more evident today at how they were moving the defense off the line of scrimmage, and we were able to create lanes for Motor to hit. So our O-line has done a great job protecting, especially in these last drives, the 2-minute moments, right? When you need the protection most, they've stepped up. CJ is able to be comfortable in the pocket because of, right, the protection by our O-line. So all those guys have done a great job, and even though they don't get highlighted, I always make sure I highlight the big guys. They definitely deserve it.
You mentioned that you wanted to see the team handle success better. What about today's show? How did they handle success from last week?
Right. This week, it showed throughout how we prepared and practiced. Like, no one was feeling themselves. No one got the big head throughout the week. Everybody just worked in silence as we should work. And the preparation was the same. And I want the guys to have that same desperation as after a loss. Right? How do you feel after a win? And we had that preparation. We had the right mindset throughout the week, and it showed on today.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Are you muted?
It's DeMeco Ryans talking about the dub, Texans big dub. Now you're looking at the division more so than the playoffs. That's DeMeco Ryans. Nothing really revolutionary there, but I mean the win is really all that matters. I did think it was cool how they kind of almost like divided up snaps between injured guys. Like, it wasn't like hey, Steven Nelson, you're going to try to play. We're going to set you out there and have you try to play 60 snaps. And then we're going to try to let Derek Singletary play 60 snaps. Kind of like split them up to where they were almost all on snap counts as opposed to just all or nothing. And I thought that was a smart thing that they did, kind of a little bit forward thinking.
The reason you're able to do that is because Shaq Griffin's played so well. Like, you have a nice depth piece in Shaq Griffin that you can put out there for all the snaps opposite that rotating corner spot.
Yep. Very much so. Very, very much so. Someone on the in the comments, Powerful Dragon, says Noah Brown goes from NFL journeyman to legitimate target CJ throwing to him. How can you be a journeyman when you're at the same place for 4 years? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what that means.
It is pretty remarkable to see what Noah Brown has been able to accomplish with the Texans so far. When it's not like the Cowboys had like a constant amount of guys just absolutely in front of him on the depth chart that were always healthy, and he just never got on the field. And it's not like he was, getting like 100 yards a season or anything like that. But to the point where they trust him and the success that he has running some of those long developing routes as sort of maybe that second or third look that CJ can get to. And it's pretty remarkable. This is not what many people believed was going to happen when Noah Brown signed that kind of the afterthought contract that he did sign in free agency.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think it's just amazing that it doesn't matter what receivers out there. They just seem to find a way to get the job done. I think that's one of the most telling things. It does seem like I don't even know. Normally, whenever there's a quarterback having a really good season and he's having all these come from behind wins and he's making all these plays on third down, he's extending plays and stuff. If you ask the question, who's the guy that he trusts the most when he needs to make a play, it shouldn't take too long to think about. Like with Patrick Mahomes, it's Travis Kelce.
Yep.
With Brady, more times than not, it was Gronk. They're always there, even when
Peyton had Marvin and Reggie.
Yeah, and
Burrow in the year he exploded had Chase.
Yeah, but with CJ, it's like, okay, is it Dalton Schultz? Is it Noah Brown? Is it Woods? Is it Tank? We've kind of just seen him in every last week it was Tank Dell. Tank Dell was the hero. Tank Dell was the guy who he went to for those final 2 passes, and he was the hero. And then this week it's Dalton Schultz, and then it's Noah Brown. And it seemed like it was Noah quite often today. So that's what's really just remarkable is he is legitimately spreading the rock out, and it's a fun thing to watch. What did you make of the Slowick thing? Because I want to evaluate Slowick fairly. But I think he was remarkable today, but I think the end of the game was just so idiotic that I don't know what the hell he was thinking. With 3:40 left, you make them use their last timeout, or you pick up 2 yards and the game's over. And I said it before. I tweeted it. I said, hey, just run the ball. And then you get Cam Johnson to punt them inside. They have to score twice in 3:40 with no timeouts left. It's very easy. And CJ obviously made the mistake. Shouldn't have even come down to that. That was unforgivable. And then you come back after that and you take the long shot with Tank. And some people will be simps and say, well, if it would have worked, you would have said. No, I said before, you don't do that. You don't do that. I'm just glad that it's a teachable thing. Bobby's a young offensive coordinator. I don't blame him for trusting CJ Stroud in that situation. That was only his second interception of his career. But that's the type of stuff that can completely ruin an epic performance. And that was so stupid that I am so glad that I did not have to do this live show and have to focus on one brain fart completely ruining a great all-around effort by the Texans, because that's what that almost did.
I'm sure your parents had this conversation with you when you were growing up. They said you went and made a mistake. You did something you weren't supposed to. And to sort of pile on to make you feel even worse, they say, you know what, Landry?
I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
No. It's in your fault. This is my fault for trusting you so much. That's how it was. I felt with like a little bit with CJ Stroud. He never should have been in that position. He never should have been throwing in that position on that play. This has been probably one of my biggest gripes with Bobby Slowick and the offensive play calling is those unique and critical moments. They do some goofy stuff on the play calls. If you want to throw the football, if you want to give your budding star quarterback an opportunity to throw the football, Run a play where there's a guy that's not going to be anywhere near that guy. And if that guy's not open, then tell the kid, because remember, they run that play coming out of a timeout.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they got to call that play in the huddle and CJ Stroud's
or even slide. Like, even like, I just
run the
don't
play where Stroud's either going to throw it to a wide open guy or he's going to run it and get down.
But why? Like, if they'd been running the ball like they had all year, then okay. But Devin Singletary had 150 yards.
I look,
and he had 7 before that. So you're basically in that situation. I get that you want to trust CJ Stroud, but given the fact that they only have one timeout, given the fact that you're running the ball well, you're basically saying, hey, if we get 3 yards here, or if we get 2.5 and you decide you want to ice it on like a QB sneak after they call the timeout, which I don't even know that would make sense, then do that. Like, just based with how the game was going, that it didn't make any sense. It made zero sense.
Look, you're right. You're right. Missionary was the way to go there. Simple, easy, trustable, reliable. It might have got the job done. And if not, you punt and you try again. Okay? Like, you're right about that. I'm just saying, if you decide to go through the air, call a different play. Both times. Like, if you're going to be silly enough to put it in the air, call it better play.
All right, let's play a little bit of word association. I want to play word association with this game. I'm gonna put up something, and we'll hear from CJ Stroud in a sec. And I just want you to you don't have to go one word or anything. Just say the first thing that comes to mind. The officiating.
Pathetic. There was some look at me moments from the officials in this one. And I understand that they reviewed that in New York and they said that, they couldn't have they didn't have the angle for the foot. Why? There's cameras everywhere. You got to have the angle. And then the second part of that exact play, the Robert Woods touchdown that was taken off the board, is I promise you that hit the defender's fingers before it hit Robert Woods. I promise you.
Well, the other thing is, like, you're trying to look for that. Like, you're trying to look for that at that point. Like, if I equate it to, you wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror. If you look at enough angles, you're going to feel like you have a 6-pack. If you're looking hard enough for someone to step out of bounds, then you're gonna convince yourself he stepped out of bounds. And even in the spirit of the rule, that had nothing to do with anything. It was the opposite play. He probably took like 12 steps. That was whack. That was pretty whack. And I also think Tank Dell was defenseless. I think CJ Stroud, that was not a fumble. The Javier Thomas INT was bad. I thought George Fant held on the Tank Dell drop. Wade Smith disagreed with me.
They mauled Will Anderson all game.
Yeah. So I just don't. I thought the officiating was very, very, very suspect, to say the least. Did you see that Cincinnati fan who had a damn flag that he was carrying around? What the hell was that?
If your buddy's going to the game with you and he pulls a flag out of his pocket, rip that out of his hand and throw it in the trash.
Yeah, drop his ass off. Seriously, 100,000% drop him off. All right, so officiating awful. Run game, Devin Singletary.
Present. How great was that to finally have a rushing attack? I'm going to say present because it'd been missing in action for most of the year.
Starter. That's what I'm going to say. Starter. He's the starting running back. I asked this question in the offseason. I think I got a little bit roasted for it, which is fine. But he's the best back on the team. Like, I like I like Dameon Pierce. I think Dameon Pierce, in certain situations, Dameon Pierce can add some value. I don't think Dameon Pierce is like just a complete, worthless back, but Devin Singletary is your starter. It's a committee, but Devin Singletary deserves a larger chunk of that pie. He's in a rhythm. He's the guy that got the job done. He's the guy that went on the road against Cincinnati and got things done. I think he's your starter. I think Devin Singletary is your starter moving forward, and they can adjust accordingly.
I like that. You're not wrong.
Sheldon Rankins.
Monster. He had a little bit of this before he had to go down for a couple weeks because of the injury. Like, it looked like he was kind of getting a rhythm and kind of getting into it. And I talked to him this week in the locker room, and I said, man, it feels like as a defensive tackle room, as soon as you guys have something going, someone goes down. It was Ridgeway. Then it was you right as you were kind of getting going. He goes, we're about to turn the corner. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. And then he went out. The thing I liked about it, in addition to not only the results of the play, he was very physical with Burrow when he did get to him. And it's not like you have to wear a guy like Burrow down. You're not going to knock him out. He's tough as nails. You're not going to rattle him, but you got to at least make it difficult for him to go out there and
Well,
play.
they told him they were there right off the top. I didn't even really have a problem with Will Anderson getting the personal foul. And then they roughed him up a little bit. I know on their second drive, Cashman, or I think it was either their second or third drive, Cashman got to him and kind of roughed him up. You saw him.
Yep.
You let him know.
Cashman popped Burrow when Rankins got the stand-up sack. Like they had him sacked, they had him into the grasp, and the officials are starting to blow the whistle. And Cashman went in there and popped him. It's like, all right, there you go, Cash.
Jalen Petrie.
Trying to be worst performance of his career.
I mean, is it not normal? Like I'm not saying that like Jalen Petrie is like awful every game, but like missing tackles, missing plays, not being able to take advantage, like isn't that kind of normal? I mean, he had against Baltimore, I know he was late on the Zay Flowers long one to the sideline that led to the Baltimore touchdown, got pancaked on the next play before he got hurt. In this game, he got bailed out. He missed a play in the backfield on third down where DeMeco dialed up a perfect run blitz. Fortunately, they got the interception. He dropped an interception that would have iced the game with 5 minutes left because you would have been inside Cincinnati territory. And then fortunately, Shaq got the interception in the end zone. He missed Boyd on that long play inside the 10, which might have ended up being a blessing in disguise because Cincinnati at that point was only going to run 3 plays and you were going to get the pill back. So you had that. Jalen Petrie, I kind of rolled my eyes this offseason when we were saying, everybody in their world was saying that Jalen Petrie's underrated, Jalen Petrie's underrated, Jalen Petrie's underrated, all that. And I asked the question, like the question of the offseason was, can someone be underrated if everyone says he's underrated? I don't think he's a bad football player, but like if the words like Pro Bowl and all that, he is a long way away from that. He might be building character. He's developing. I'm looking forward to seeing him. I think the final 2 years of his rookie deal are going to be awesome. But anyone who thought that he was going to go from statistically better than he performed his rookie season in a bad scheme to the DeMeco fairy dust just being sprinkled on him to where he's like one of those awesome safeties in this type of defense, that's gone. That's gone.
No, I'm with you. There's got to be some development, and there's got to be a higher floor for a guy like that than what he's showcased to this point. And I don't know the coverage. Some people are saying, "Hey, it's just a good throw."
Man. It's cover 2 man at that point. Like, and I mean, at that point, Stingley's got to keep running with him, and then he's got to get there. You're talking about this. I'm
talking about the first. I'm talking about the first touchdown.
Yeah, on the first drive.
And I got plenty of people saying it's Derek Stingley's fault, and then I got a bunch of people that played in the NFL on Twitter saying, "Yeah, Jalen Petrie's got to do something about that."
No, he has to. But I mean, like at that point, Stingley's instincts have to take over.
They both stunk on that play. And that's 2 players you should be trusting a ton to not stink in that situation. And they both stunk.
It's clearly cover 2. I don't know if it's cover 2 man or not, but at that point, like you've already run that far with him. Like Derek Stingley has elite instincts. You can help out. But yeah, he's got to be there. I don't know that you can rely on him there. Petrie and Will Anderson Jr. nickname, Horseshoe and Hand Grenade. Oh my goodness.
The almost boys.
Goodness gracious. Noah Brown. One word to describe Noah Brown.
Unexpected. This guy was thought to be. I mean, look, I don't know if it was you and me that talked about it. I wrote about Noah Brown could be a surprise camp cut if everybody played well in camp. And not only is Noah Brown nowhere close to that, he is a trusted element. Remember how much we were annoyed that they trusted him in week 1 instead of throwing the ball to Tank Dell. And then he got hurt and he was gone for a few weeks. And then he comes back and the first week they kind of eased him in. And then it's been, they trust him a ton with the way that this offense runs. They prefer to throw the ball to veteran pass catchers. They just prefer that. Unless Tank Dell's getting wide open and CJ trusts him, they trust these veteran pass catchers. Noah Brown's played a lot of football, and it's unexpected that he is this good.
Yeah, it's a pleasant surprise for me, because this is a guy that the Cowboys didn't want. This is a guy that you look at these guys that are making plays. A lot of them are guys that their teams didn't want. The Bills didn't want Devin Singletary.
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys didn't want Noah Brown. The Cowboys didn't want Dalton Schultz. The Jags didn't want Shaq Griffin. These are guys that other teams didn't want, and you're getting good football out of them. And I think that Nick Caserio deserves credit for that. The coaching staff deserves credit for that. So, yeah, I would say pleasant surprise. Final one, the CJ Stroud impact before we hear from him. Kevin Harlan, man. Last week we got Ian Eagle. This week we got Kevin Harlan. It is nice to be somewhat interesting to where they actually send out the good voices. No disrespect to the C-teamers. I think they do a good job, but it is nice to get two of the best play-by-play guys the last couple of weeks calling games.
Pick your poison, because
what a classy SOB he seems like too.
It's either Ian Eagle or it's Kevin Harlan. Those are the two best TV play-by-play guys doing it right now. They are the two best. They are better than Tirico. They're better than Nance. They're better than Al Michaels shouldn't even be mentioned with these guys. Al Michaels is disgraceful on Thursday Night Football. How Kevin Harlan's out there, and you could have got Kevin Harlan or Ian Eagle to do Thursday Night Football, and Al Michaels ends up doing Thursday Night Football. I'm so glad he's done at the end of 2024. They get somebody else in there.
You sure?
And you mentioned it about Harlan. It's funny that you mentioned that about Harlan, classy guy. I spoke to somebody who's worked in football for a very long time, and part of their job is to work with the announcers, get them set, get them organized, all that kind of stuff. They said, by far, nicest guy, remembers everybody's name, remembers details about him, Kevin Harlan.
Okay. CJ Stroud, a lot of people say he's a nice guy. Let's hear from CJ Stroud live at the podium. You talk to him every week, Stutz.
I do talk to him every week.
Here he is. Get that buttoned up, man. Come on. Look fresh.
How much is that confidence builder? I know you guys don't have confidence, but to do it again, to win in this fashion.
Yeah, man, all glory and praise of my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. This is a great opportunity and a hard-fought game. And these type of games come down to the last minute. It's hard to win in the NFL. It's a great Bengals team over there. They proved it week in and week out. But I think we came in with a mindset that we won't be denied. And that was huge for us. We fought until the end. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't how we would draw it out. But that's what this league is about: those tough wins. So all glory goes to God, man. And I'm super blessed to be able on this Texas team and play with my teammates. Man, I love my teammates to death. We had no doubt that everything was in our favor going into that last drive. We knew that we can go down and get a field goal or score. So it was a blessing to pull out the dub.
At some point, you can't go and say, "We got you. We have this." When did you say this, and where does that level of belief come from? Because, like you said, it's hard to do this.
Yeah, man. It was after I threw the interception. I think they had scored, and I let them know, man. I got your back. I know I made a mistake, but that one play doesn't define me, and I'm gonna go prove myself again. And I think we had a great day offensively, ran the ball really well, threw the ball really well, but those last 4-minute drills, man, I got to be better. I can't turn the ball over right there, but it's all about toughness in this league, how tough you are. I took a lot of big hits this game and things like that, but my O-line, they fought the tail off. I think that's where we won the game was our O-line. We handled 91. I was on our keys to victory. He's a heck of a player. LT was sitting on that guy and had a great game. And then our receivers ran great routes. The rest of my O-line blocked their tail off. And Motor, man, Motor and I'm tripping. And MB, man, they were the focus point of this game, man. We needed them big time, and they've been in tough games like this. Motor being with the Bills, and then MB being with the Cowboys. They know how hard it is to win in an environment like that. So we lean on them guys, and they make plays.
Coach talked about having calm in the chaos. How do you find that, or how do you come up with that?
For me, it's a lot of prayer. a lot of just knowing that, man, God wouldn't put anything on me that I can't handle. I don't deserve his grace and his mercy, but he still gives it to me, and I love him for that because, I mean, it's not about me. It's about him and his glory. So I think that's where it comes from. I think God made me like that. I've been through a lot, not only in football, but things that made me just kind of chill during when everything's going crazy. And I thank God for putting that on me because that's something that put that in me, excuse me, because that's something that you need playing in this position in this league. That defense over there, they didn't blink, even though they were giving up big plays and things like that. They knew that it would come down to the wire. We knew that too. And I just went to DeMeco and let him know, man, I got you. We're going to win this game. And he looked me right in the eye and said, I trust you. So it's amazing to have trust in your head coach. And I'm a rookie and my OC, Bobby, man. Like, I think Bobby, we need to give him his flowers. He called a great game again, leaned on his players and took risk. And I appreciate him for even doing that.
How long did it take you to snap back in?
Cam made a hell of a play. I've been playing against him since college and have a lot of respect for that guy. He's really smart. We ran that play the drive before we got a big completion. So he told me too. I talked to him and he was like, "Man, I knew it was coming." So we undercut it. Their defensive end played upfield, and I had to step up in the pocket and I didn't want to take a sack. So I tried to like lay it over him and he looked up right when I threw it and he picked it and it was a heck of a play. Tank probably almost saved the day right there, with just giving our defense a blade of grass to stand on. But I mean, it's something I can't do in the future, but it's great learning experience, especially to come out with a dub with that.
And then did you just immediately like throw it away?
I mean, I was a little upset and like, dang, like, but at the end of the day, what is that going to do? I mean, it's not going to do anything for me. I have to move on to the next play. And I mean, I had such a great game at that point. Like, man, I had a lot of great plays instead of that negative play. I can't just harp on that one negative play and go back to what I was doing. And the next drive, probably put the ball in my hands and we made plays.
Yeah, I remember you told me that you enjoy road games. I remember you used the term "walking to your trap, take over the trap." To win a ball game like this, you say, AFC contender like this in a state that you used to play in, how satisfying is this?
It's a blessing, man. You couldn't draw it any better. And I know it wasn't easy, but this is like that's what you want in the NFL. You want those hard wins because you want to be playing your best ball at this point. I mean, I think we're doing that. I think we're on an upscale. And to be back in Ohio, I got a lot of Buckeye love, and I appreciate everybody who was in support. And then a lot of Texans out here too. Like we showing up. So I really hope next week we play the Cardinals, man. Y'all pull up and we pack that thing out. Like I really want to see a sold out stadium. I think at this point, man, I think that's what we're ready for. And that juice that y'all bring, man, we play with 100% energy. And even in the negative light, coming to the away game, like you want to be the villain and you put on your mask, you ride with your brothers, and you go make plays. So it was a big win for us and try to build on this momentum.
Two more guys.
CJ, one thing Coach Ryans has said was that we don't care about the outside noise, but this game felt like a statement win for a young team that has believed in itself from jump, regardless of what anybody else thought.
Yeah, I mean, you can tune into what everybody else saying, but they're not in our shoes. We're the men in the arena. We're the one lacing it up, taking the hits, doing what we have to do to win. And it's a process throughout the week, man. I know, like, shout out to our families, man. Like, we put in a lot of work, and our families do a great job by supporting us in that way. So, I mean, I love my family. I know the rest of my teammates, they can say the same. So, it's just not us, man. It's the city of Houston behind us, our families behind us, the guys' kids, the wives, my family, my parents. Like, a lot of people are behind us in this thing, and I think we're proving a lot of people right who believe in us, and that's all that matters. So we're not trying to prove nobody wrong.
2 weeks in a row, you had the game winning drive. Can you just take us through what your offensive linemen are doing in those situations?
I mean, they look me in the eyes and, man, I trust you with this moment, and that means a lot to me. From left to right, man, a lot of meaningful ball has been played in different teams. This team, like, I think they were saying, like, man, there was like 8 or 9 games last year that came down to the wire like that. And I think we lost every single one of them. So the hope that we have in 2-minute drill, like that really goes to our coaching and just us being playmakers. We do 2-minute drills on Wednesday and Thursday. Just trying to get that down because, I mean, that's a lot of these games are 1 to 2 minute. So my linemen, we don't move without them, like I told you last week. They're the focus point of our team. So my linemen had a great game.
We're going to finish with DJ and then Jonathan.
You mentioned, I think, around training camp, right before training camp, and you guys were going to shock the world. You guys really believed in the roster. What was it? What were you seeing from the team that made you really believe that you guys were going to be able to be great this year?
I would say, I mean, just the confidence off rip. And it wasn't built overnight. Like, this thing took a minute, a lot of moving parts. And, I mean, you see, I mean, we've been injured too, which hasn't been helpful. So these have been like the last couple of games we've actually been able to play at a capacity. Like, we're still missing a couple pieces. Miss Nico today. Can't wait to get him back. But I think you can see, like, no matter who's up, man, we're next player mentality. That's what you have to do in this league. So, and I think Michael Dieter has stepped in and done an amazing job. And I really appreciate him just being, like, not only a ball player, but being really, really vocal. Because coming into that point where JP was playing really well, it's hard to come in and now, So I think this team from when OTA started, we built confidence. Yeah, Motor, he ran the ball really well. Like I said before, it starts up front. Those guys are moving. Those guys, that's a solid, really good D-line. Backers fill their gaps really well. And Motor was making people miss. On top of that, we were getting to our second-level defenders and moving around. So I think once we get the running game going, I mean, you can see the play action starts working, the drop-back pass, everything. It makes my job a lot easier. So shout out to the running game, and we got to keep that going. All right, thank y'all. God bless.
Oh, there you go. This is how crazy this is right now and where we are right now with the Texans. It's early, very early. But if the playoffs began today, the Texans would be in it. They would be the 7 seed. They own the tiebreaker over Cincinnati and Buffalo, who are also sitting at 5-4, based on best win percentage in conference games. So that's just kind of where you are right now. You are ahead of Cincinnati and Buffalo in the playoff standings because you have a tiebreaker over them. Early, but baby steps. And oh, by the way, you got Arizona coming to town, and then you got Jacksonville. Baby steps, man. Baby steps. CJ Stroud, unbelievable. Second straight week, he's been unbelievable. Bobby Slowick, thank God, a good effort wasn't overshadowed by that stupidity at the end. But you know what? We'll take it. Take whatever the hell we can get. 5 wins. How about that? More wins than you've had since 2019. And you're 9 weeks in. And you're looking one right in the eyes. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Thanks to Wade Smith. Thanks to Cody Stutes. Thanks to you. Do me a favor. Please like the video. I'm told that helps. I wouldn't ask if it didn't. Be sure to do that. Subscribe, like, right along. Going to be giving away tickets to the game on Tuesday. Also going to have an exclusive interview on Thursday. Going to be out there on Sunday. Good times, baby. Thanksgiving is approaching, and go figure, we're all focused on the Texans. What a time to be alive. We're all in it together. Thanks for coming through.
Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not 2. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days. Opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up. We number 1. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too.